Co-op Mode, round 154. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, in beautiful Sauvage, Minnesota. There's no snow on the ground, but it's crispy in the wind. It feels good. Football's playing. The Christmas tree's up. It's only been knocked down by the cats once, but we are in for a fun holiday season. As you can see, the TARDIS is behind me. There's snow in the background. It's a wonderful time to be alive. Joined by Mark, the Canadian Carabin, where in Canada, you never know if it's Christmas or just another day in paradise. How you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good. There, we did have some snow yesterday. We traveled this weekend to visit some of my wife's family, and the drive home was brutal. It snowed the entire way, kind of a freak snowstorm, but the snow's all gone today. So your description is fairly apt today. Of you don't know if it's Christmas or just another day, because you wouldn't have even known it snowed yesterday, and it took me 6 hours and 45 minutes to do a 4-hour drive. So, yeah, I just, it was just one of those days. And then today it was just like, hey, what's up? It's nice out. So yeah, other than that, I'm great.
So you played Ice Truck Simulator, that game, the Ice Truck game? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. You're ready for it.
Cranked some Pirates of the Caribbean techno music and just white knuckled it the way home. It was fine.
Perfect. Well, there we go. And we are joined by a new friend on the co-op couch. That is Chris Berto. Oh my goodness, Chris, so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor, honestly. I gotta say something though, real quick though. You guys are both seemingly freezing your asses off, and I'm down here in sunny Florida, and man, I gotta tell you, it hit 40 degrees. I don't know what that is in Canadian, but I had to put pants on this week. So
oh no,
I know the suffering you guys are dealing with.
Oh my goodness,
it's a Florida tuxedo. You got pants.
Oh my goodness, I had pants, and
keep that weather nice for April. I'm heading down that way early April. So let's keep I'll leave my pants at home if that's what you're saying. It's going to be good.
Yes, total polar opposite. I was in Canada in April, way back when I was a younger man, 2014. I went to Calgary, Alberta, and when I left Florida, it was Florida, April. It was 80 something degrees, and I'm pretty sure when I got there, it was freezing. It was freezing cold. If I'm not mistaken, it was cold, and so I didn't like it, and I never went back, and I've never been invited back to Canada, and there's probably a reason for that. So,
that's the secret. Yeah. The cold keeps out the trouble, and the Florida men.
So
yeah.
Well, Chris, so since you're new to Secret Friends Unite and Co-op Mode, we need to do a proper understanding of the type of person you are in worlds of gaming. So I always start off with my first question is, what was the first game you ever played?
First game I played? Oh, man. First game I played. That's going to test my memory. I want to say California Games on the 2600, maybe? That sounds maybe right. I know I owned a Nintendo, but I don't think it's the first game I played. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with that, because I'm not counting, and I don't even know what years those would be, like Number Munchers and stuff like that on the Apple II.
Right.
I won't count those, but I want to say proper console game. California Games, probably. It would be my best guess, I think. That sounds
a little hacky sack. Yeah, yes. It's a great game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the first one you have like solid, real memories? Like you can definitively say, because I'm kind of with you there. Like my first video game, maybe Popeye in an arcade or something, but first like definitive game for me would be like the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, like mix cartridge.
Well,
like I know that was like
probably that one, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first console that we owned, like I said, the Atari was a friend of ours as a kid. I'm an '85 baby, so I turned 40 next year.
Okay.
Next year I turned 40. So we had the Nintendo. We had the pack-in. I had the Duck Hunt Mario, double pack-in cartridge. I believe it was a pack-in. I don't remember. I was 5.
Yeah, I think so.
But I had that certainly. that would definitely be one. And then my dad had a game on the PC. And I don't remember what year this would have been, but it was like one of those baseball games. So my dad was big into baseball. So like Tommy La Rosa or La Rosa, whatever it is. I don't do
Tommy Lasorda, baseball. Yeah, there you go.
That
Yeah.
jerkwad.
Yep.
So that baseball game, I was watching my dad play. But probably definitively, as you were saying, Mark. I mean Mario. I think probably.
Yeah.
Mario Duck Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very. It sounded the way you were describing it sounded very similar. Like I'm at 84. Like I just turned 40.
Yeah.
So like very kind of similar vibes. Like I know like cousins had this system or like
Yeah, exactly.
I'd see
Like,
this on that, but like definitive in our house, like first real like I can pinpoint a gaming memory kind of thing would be that NES that we had and that dual pack. But like I know I must have played something before that, or I think
Certainly.
I probably did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of like vague memory of like it's like a memory of a memory. It's weird, but like
my first video game experience wasn't holding, the NES controller playing Mario.
Yeah.
Certainly that wasn't my first experience, but look, man, I've got some years on me. There's not much tread left on the tires. I don't remember a whole lot about what came first. So,
yeah.
No, that's a good point because I mean, I can't remember the first game I ever played. I'll be honest, probably in an arcade, and then probably something in the 2600 if I go back, or even in television or something like that. Okay, so, but a follow up that, what was the first video game system you like owned? Like that was in your wheelhouse. It was something that was part of your life. It was just like it was your, I guess, your busting your cherry in the world of games.
So. Like one that I bought, like with my like adult money,
it can be what you could have bought, or it's just the system that was in your house. You played it. It was just like that was there every day.
So the NES certainly, but that was my parents bought that for my brother and I for Christmas one year, and then we eventually got upgraded. My parents didn't love us, so we had a Genesis. We were a Genesis.
Oh no, Genesis was great.
No, Super Nintendo was great. We had Sonic. When all my friends had Super Mario World. So, but then my thing that I was on was the Game Boy, the old gray, the brick, the Game Boy. That was my we had the Nintendo. My brother and I would play. Contra was our game of choice to play cooperatively because we'd run through Contra just religiously. But the console, if you want to call it a console, game system that was like mine, and I'm on this thing every day, was just the Game Boy, and really Tetris. Like I had other games, really. I played Tetris until the batteries died, and I got new batteries, and then I played Tetris again until the batteries died. That was the one until we eventually got a PlayStation and a PS2, and so up the Sony chain, and then the first console I bought with like adult money would have been the 360. When I was right at a I'm going to lose track of when things got released, but I want to say I bought my 360 in 2004. I was deployed to Germany, and that's what everybody had. That's when Modern Warfare was doing its thing.
Yeah.
And so all the guys on base had an Xbox 360. I was a PlayStation guy. I had played Xbox. I played Halo on the OG Xbox with friends growing up in high school and whatnot. But then when it was time for me to buy a console, I made it through basic training, made it to Germany. I've got expendable income as an adult. 18, 19 years old as an adult, and I was like, well, everybody's got a 360, so I'm buying a 360. So that was my first I own this, I bought this, I saved money, and this is mine now. So
yeah,
that's
that was the time for 360, man. I remember that same kind of time, that same kind of year. Like I bought mine from a friend who bought it, and just because he bought it because of that same kind of thing, like everyone else had it, but discovered very quickly that he wasn't a gamer. And he was just Mark, do you want this? And I was like, yes. And he was like, I'll give it to you. He was like a rich kid, right? So he was just like, I'll give it to you for damn near nothing. And I was like, okay.
I guess if you make fantastic. Me, I'll
I suppose.
Yeah.
It's like I was like that, like 6 games that he barely even opened. It was beautiful. But like, man, yeah, you're so right. Like everybody had that 360 on the go, and like Call of Duty, Gears of War, like
Gears of War was the one. That's the one, and so that was the one that got me to buy the system, because I'm not a big multiplayer. I mean, I grew into one. I started playing online games with my cousin and stuff like that, Call of Duty and the likes. But I was at a buddy's at a buddy's room or whatever, barracks room, whatever, and he was playing God of War. And I just remember even that gray brown, color palette that they used in the first God of War game, that one of the opening scenes when they kind of zoom out and they just see all the locusts and whatnot blew my fucking mind. Apologies, blew my mind. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I have to have this, whatever this is, I need. And I was to the PX the next day and got the 360 and got the God of War, and that was it, man.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And thank you for your service. I'm an Air Force vet. I assume PX Army guy. Yeah. Yes. No. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My dad was a Navy guy. Hey, I was in Korea with Army guys in the batteries when I was in Korea. So there you go. So I've got all branches in the family. So
my brother's active duty. My brother retired. It blew my mind. So this reminds me of how old I am. We both joined at 18. I'm a few years older than my brother. I got injured, unfortunately, in 08, whatever. And I was reminded that had I not gotten injured, I would have retired. Last year would have been my 20 years in service. I'm like, oh shit. Wow. My brother, we're talking about Christmas and stuff like that. Talking about, the kids and all this kind of stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I retired next year. And I'm like, oh, you're getting out? He goes, no. I retire next year. I've been in for 20 years. I'm like, oh, no. How old are we that my younger brother can retire? Yeah. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, who we were buddies with, and we actually were stationed together in Korea. He just retired as a major, and it's like, oh my goodness, we're all getting old. To your point, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got out at 5 years, so I was like, yeah. It is what interesting where the world takes us.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Chris, taking us down a little memory lane. We feel like we know you a little bit better. So with that, we have to say thank you to some very special people.
Yes, those special people include all of our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, where you can join this amazing cast of people for as little as $2 a month or a free trial for 1 week to get all of these exclusive shows, early releases, no ads, Discord benefits, all that kind of stuff, and join people such as our besties tier, Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, the official hairstylist of I'll say SFU, but it's really just Charlie, I believe. Unless I make it down to the States for my next, you know what? No, I'm almost due. Maybe I'll buy this will be the most expensive haircut in the history of the world. Buying a plane ticket to go down and visit Francie. Xbox expansion pass. We got Luke coming in on the besties tier and Charlie's Uncle Tim. The friends with benefits tier, we have John Sador, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD, aka the Boss Rush CEO, Matthew Keel, Kurt Krug, he's got connections, and I cannot forget the Secret Friends Super Squad, the absolutely amazing Nias family, Sean, Stella, and Henry. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. Again, as little as $2 a month, you can go support us on patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. But if you don't have a couple of bucks to throw our way, or you just don't feel like it, sharing the show, sharing a YouTube link or a Instagram page or a clip or something like that here, there, whatever, or a podcast link, that means the world to us as well, just as much as all of the people I just listed. Everything counts. Everything goes a long way to helping spread the show. And we appreciate every single bit that you can do to help us in any kind of way. So don't feel like you have to throw $2 our way, but if you can, head over to patreon.com/secretfriendsunite.
Absolutely. And if you're the gift given type, it's the season. Giving is the reason. You can gift Patreon subscriptions, which is very cool. If you want to do that, you want to give somebody, you're like, you want to share my nerd life. Here's some nerdy stuff to listen to. Enjoy that. It's perfect for your stocking stuffer. It's very small. And if we're also in the giving mood, where I'm giving away an Xbox code for COD Blop 6. Yes. Sign up for a Patreon trail. Leave a review on iTunes and Spotify. Subscribe and comment on YouTube. Any of those things. Then leave a picture within either our Instagram DM or within Blue Sky. we have Blue Sky there as well that now allows you to do DM. So there's multiple places to do it. Just, leave a picture, your name or whatever, and let us know that you actually did it. And then we'll put you in the running for that code just in time for the season in case you already have an Xbox or you're looking to get one for the holiday. So thank you so much for that. And one shout out to cool Patreon Matthew Keel. I did a live meetup in person. Matt has family now in Minnesota. We met up. He says, "Hey, Todd, what are you doing?" I said, "Not much, depends." And he's like, "I'm in Minnesota." I'm like, "Cool, let's meet up." We went to the Lit Pinball Bar. I had not been to the new location. It's amazing. They had so many amazing pinball systems. We had a great time, live DJ, great beer and great friends. It was great to see him. And I'm glad that, with him having family now there, the likelihood of see Matt again would be fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if you ever want to meet up in real life, let us know. We'll be glad to meet. That's what we always say. So with that, we get into one of my favorite parts of the show, and that is buy, rent, and return. So since it's getting chilly, I decided, you know what? Let's talk about ice characters. And when I picked this list, I did not think about fighting game characters, but that's where this just landed me. So, especially since I've been playing a little Marvel Capcom fighting collection, and there happens to be a little character called Iceman in that game. So, the characters I picked are Iceman from the X-Men, but also from the various Marvel versus Capcom fighting games. The ever-loving Ice Climbers from Smash Brothers and the wonderful NES game. And then Sub-Zero, you know him. The picture I included was the original, rotoscoped photo version, which I love to pieces. So those who I picked. But before I get into it, I'll just say really quickly, we had a couple picks on this. So I'll do Kevin Ainsworth. He said buy Ice Climbers, rent Sub-Zero, return Iceman. He said I may be biased, and of course, his little emoticon for himself in Discord is the Ice Climbers. So that's a deep cut. Yes,
Little bit of bias there. Famous Seamus came in with buying Sub-Zero. He is an awesome ninja with ice powers. That's just great. That's just awesome. Rent Ice Climbers. They're a neat fighter, and hearing people cheer when they're in the Smash Brothers Ultimate Reveal trailer warms my heart. An ice character warming your heart. That's some next level.
Like Hot Frosty in Netflix.
Yeah. And return Iceman. I don't read X-Men comics, so I'm not familiar with him at all. Fair enough. This is a tough one. It's very straightforward.
It's extremely straightforward and not tough at all, actually, sir.
Oh, I'd agree.
Oh, okay. Chris, let's go.
I'd agree.
Oh, okay. So I saw this, and I'm immediately returning this into Ice Climbers. Immediate return, Ice Climbers. They've been, Jesus Christ. They've got one game on the NES and a couple of ports like the arcade and the whatever. And then, let's put them in Smash Brothers, this obscure character that nobody actually knows or remembers from their one NES title with no sequels and no new games, no remakes, and then when you play Smash, they suck and I hate them anyways. So immediately sending the Ice Climbers straight to hell where they belong.
It's a little. Will they do okay? They're made of ice, so they climb ice.
Exactly.
I don't think
they're
climb
going
fire.
to climb back out. That's the thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Can't kill them. Can't kill them.
But they can only climb ice, though. They can't climb out of hell's fiery depths. Okay, that's my headcanon.
Okay, all right.
Do we need a call on that? Is it possible for them to climb on anything other than ice? Don't know.
We'd have to ask Kevin Ainsworth apparently.
Yeah,
he seems to be the Ice Climbers aficionado, right?
In my mind, if you can climb on ice, you can climb damn near anything.
I mean,
what's the saying? If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You can dodge a ball. Yeah, if you can climb a mountain of ice,
sure.
You're not getting stopped by much. So I'm scared of the Ice Climbers.
That's fine.
A little bit, but I understand your banishment. So let's continue. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna rent Iceman. I like Iceman from the comics. I did read comics, unlike whoever, I forget who you said it was, maybe Seamus.
It's famous Seamus.
Yep. Doesn't read. I did read comics. Watched the Marvel X-Men cartoon. He was in there. I believe he was in there. Certainly made his live action debut in the X-Men movies. And between the three characters, he's my rent. Now, Sub-Zero, I'm buying him all day, every day. Sub-Zero's my main in Mortal Kombat. He's a cheap main, certainly, and I'll admit that. But he's my guy. He's my guy. I've got you were talking about memories earlier of games as a child. My cousin and I, Mortal Kombat all day, every day. Sub-Zero, Scorpion. That's the rivalry between my cousin and I. Sub-Zero's my guy all day, every day. I will cheese that fight. I will freeze you and uppercut you and freeze you again. I don't care. A win is a win. I'll take it. That's it. So yeah, there's my buy, rent, and return.
Good picks.
Yeah, very solid. And that's exactly where my difficulty is coming with this. I agree. Return the Ice Climbers. They're cute, but like,
okay, I was wondering why you're like, I don't know what you're saying about the Ice Climbers. They are top tier all day, every day. Okay.
They're a fun novelty addition to Smash Brothers. I appreciate that they're in there because Smash Brothers is this like celebration of Nintendo's history, and they're a cute addition and an interesting addition because it's two players and you have to kind of coordinate with those. And can you still win if the CPU gets knocked off first? They're an interesting pair. But easy return for me. It's the other two that were difficult. And the main reason is what you just said. Scorpion Sub-Zero as a rivalry. When I was growing up playing Mortal Kombat, my brother was a Sub-Zero main. I'd flip-flop between Scorpion and Johnny Cage. And having those flashbacks of being flash frozen and having my heart ripped out by my brother, a little bit frustrating. So I kind of like, as much as I love the Mortal Kombat ninjas, I feel like I kind of have to rent Sub-Zero because A, he wasn't my main, and B, I got my ass kicked by him so many effing times that I just kind of want to give the win to Iceman, who, was played by Sean Ashmore, fellow Canadian, Omega level mutant. You can't
see who's
can't
being
go wrong
biased
with
now.
Mark's picking out a spite. So quite honestly, that's defending. That's a defense I can always get behind.
This is 100% emotional. 100% emotional. Did I get my ass kicked, or did I watch a guy from Animorphs play this guy in a superhero movie? So I think I'm going to do pure emotion. Return Ice Climbers, rent Sub-Zero, buy Iceman. With the caveat that I know Sub-Zero should be my buy, but I just got my ass kicked too many times.
Mark recovered from last week when I broke the rules of the game, so I'm not going to do that again. Not going to do that again. I got to pass for that one. Yeah, I got to pass for that one.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh that you cheated.
Yeah, you know what? Cheat mode, up, down, left, right, BA start. That's how it works. If you see me doing something down here, Mark, I'm actually putting the cheat code in. I'm not, looking things up on Google. Yeah. So for myself, once again, Ice Climbers, I agree, gentlemen. It's a rent. All those people that are like, where's my Waluigi? Where's my Shovel Knight?
Yeah.
And this is who we get.
Where is my Waluigi? Damn it.
Yeah. He's too hot for Nintendo, man. There's too much like thirst for Waluigi. Nobody wants that.
Sexual machismo coming out.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's too much. You have to be like M-rated, first M-rated Nintendo game. Too much Waluigi. Yeah. You just make all the characters pass out from lust. It'd be great. But yeah, like a photo shoot ultimate or something like that, where he's like doing poses, and it'd be wonderful. But I go to my return or my rent. Sorry. This is a hard one, but I love the X-Men. I'm diehard. I've loved X-Men since day one. Iceman's one of my favorite X-Men, but he's very limited. He's not my favorite character to play though in the game. I love Cyclops in the game. I was just playing all the Marvel vs. Capcom games going back from Children of the Atom all the way up. So Iceman was never like my favorite to play. So he's a rent. I love to. That's one of the things about fighting games. You play all of them just to get a feel for them, and you're like, okay, yeah, it goes. Like if I have to, I'll go back to you. But nope, he is my rent. Sub-Zero, though, he is right up there. He is my buy. Remember going to the bowling alley with my buddies, trying to figure out who can get the fatality code first, screwing it up and figuring out what we could do. All the rumors about Mortal Kombat. I remember when you could order that Mortal Kombat comic book. If you call it, like you could send away for like $3 on one of the screens at the arcade, would say send away for the Mortal Kombat like comic book. I don't know if anybody ever did. I would love to see if it is and how much it's worth. So I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I just love that game series so much, and all the sound effects, in the game, toasty, and just the weirdness and the uppercuts into the stage. But Sub-Zero is amazing. Yeah, I mean, and I had a couple mains that I would love, but yeah, the sounds of that game, Sub-Zero, freeze, the uppercut, all the things you could cheese, which was basically the jump. High kick, jump, high kick. I mean, you could just school people for days with that. So that's what I'm going with. Sub-Zero.
I just quickly looked up that comic book because this is the first time I ever heard about it. The first two results I'm seeing from eBay are $425 for a high grade edition. And the other one, you thought that was bad. This one is listed for $1,381.72. So if you do own that comic in halfway decent condition, hey, eBay exists. Wow, that is insane.
I love that actually happened. I don't know if it's a pile of crap. It probably is. I mean, considering, there's this comic, I'm not even sure who, probably Ed Boon probably illustrated and drew it. I don't know. Don't know. But I will see if I can find it online and, put it on your wish list, folks. I'm sure your spouse would love to get it for you. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Okay, now we're getting to what we've been gaming. So, Chris, you're the guest. You go first, man.
Oh, man. So I mentioned to you guys before we started. So 2024 has been an interesting year, and I won't go into sad stories. But because of some personal issues, I have not played anything released this year that I know of. I take that back. I played WWE 2K24. It was purchased for me by my roommate as a birthday present, at the beginning of the year. So I've been going through just replaying games in my back catalog, going through things on PS Plus that I've added to my library and just never touched because there's, what? I just want a year or two maybe where just nothing new comes out. Just no new games from anybody. Yeah. For 2 straight years to catch up. So I was able to nab. So I've been doing a couple of things. Dragon Age is one of my favorite series. And obviously we have the Veilguard that's just recently come out. And since I can't get Veilguard for reasons, monetary reasons, I own the first trilogy, Origins 2 and Inquisition. So I've been replaying those. So I did a full replay of Origins recently. I just wrapped up Dragon Age 2 a week or so ago. And I fired up Inquisition. And then whilst doing that, I also picked up on a sale, and then I had some PSN from the rewards points, like a couple of $5 gift card thingies or whatever. So I was able to get Hogwarts Legacy for $15.
Oh, nice!
And I missed it when it came out because, again, too many games released in any given year. So I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I think I have no idea how. I can't judge how far I am in the game. The PlayStation, I think the Gold Path tracker says I'm 40 some odd % in, but I feel like I haven't unlocked anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if one of you guys have played the game or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But there's an obscene, and I'm not complaining. It might sound, there's an obscene amount of content and side quests and characters and this and that. And I like that about the game, but I have this complaint about all games that do this, where you got your golden story, right? You got your main path story, end of the world type thing. But let me go get these pages real quick because you lost your kitty or something.
Yeah.
And yes, I know that the goblins are going to destroy Hogwarts and all this stuff. Yeah, but also I lost my family heirloom in the pond. Can you go get it for me?
Yes.
And Sam Wellington, my wizard, Sam Wellington, is happy to help everybody with their mindless drivel because I get spells and experience points. And I think I'm a I'm a big trophy guy. I love my PlayStation trophies. And I was looking at the trophy list, and it doesn't seem impossible to platinum. And again,
Wow.
I've got time on my hand. I don't have anything new coming down the pipeline, so I think this should be another platinum for me. I know you have to do a semi replay because you have to join all 4 houses.
Ooh.
Well, you join.
It's early in the game. Yeah, you join early.
You don't have
you
to
join
play
early.
very far.
No, it's like an hour maybe into the game to get to the.
I haven't played too much myself, but my wife has 1,000 or whatever it is, like full achievement score on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And she said, that was like the toughest thing was restarting and doing all the houses, but like you popped off those achievements fairly early on, so it's not like a full replay through
hour or two to get through the it's just like a quick intro of the mechanics of the game, kind of.
Exactly.
And then you make it to Hogwarts, and then it's just like, you answer a couple questions, and then it'll pick for you, or you can say, no, I want to be an XYZ, and then you just manually pick. So I've actually contemplated just making 3 more characters real quick, just even before I finish the game, make 3 characters, run through that section, pop that trophy for joining all 4 houses, be done with it, not worry about it ever again, and then finish my playthrough. I was making my character, and my girlfriend, she's not a gamer herself, but she does like Harry Potter and whatnot. So I was like, hey, I got this game, and we got to make this game. So she helped me make the characters. She designed them. We've got great glasses on, and I like to play dress up in my games. So I like that you can get one thing they do, and it makes sense in the world of wizarding where you could change your appearance and whatnot.
Yeah, transmogrification is amazing.
Yeah. So I love that feature. All RPGs need it, so you can get the gear with the best stats.
Yep.
It looks like Sin. That's fine. I'll make it look like what I want. So I have the most dapper looking wizard that's ever existed. I don't have a robe on. He just looks like and I shared it on Blue Sky and Threads a couple days ago, whatever. But he's a very dapper looking gentleman. And I'm like, we need a name. We need a name for this very dapper looking wizard. And she goes, Sam Wellington. I'm like, that's as British a name as I've ever heard. Done. So Sam is a young 5th year student at Hogwarts, and he's just doing amazing things there. So yeah, that's what I'm playing. And then I downloaded, because it was on the 30th anniversary, PlayStation's doing their big 30th special, and they got a bunch of stuff highly discounted. And the Doom 1 and 2, where they remastered them again for the 1,000th time.
Oh, yeah.
On like a toaster, if you wanted to play it on a toaster.
Yep.
So it's at 4K resolution, 1 billion frames a second on the PS5. So I got that for like $1 or $2 because it was already cheap to begin with, and they put it on. So I literally just started that today, and I'm not good at Doom.
No, I'm not either.
I love 2016 and then Resurrection, and I can't wait for the Dark Ages to come out. I think next year, or maybe 26, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's 2025. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big Doom fan, but I haven't played the originals in forever. So I just started up Doom 1, episode 1, and I put it on medium difficulty. This game I'm not platinuming, because I had to beat the game on whatever the hard difficulty is, fuck me slowly difficulty, whatever it is, the really hard difficulty. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that. Put it on medium and just play. And I gotta tell you, I'm not good at Doom anymore. It's too quick, and I'm too slow. But it's a warm kind of nostalgic feeling. It brings me back to gaming on a PC, which is where I have some of my roots on PC gaming. So Hogwarts, Dragon Age, and Doom is my kind of trio at the moment.
That's a good mix.
Very, very cool. And Chris, I just want to make sure you don't worry about Hogwarts Legacy. Actually, in that world, there's magic. So anytime you get a side quest, the world actually stops. So any of the emergencies, the world burning down, it just stops. It's paused for you. So don't feel bad that you're not saving the burning orphanage, because that's okay. It's frozen.
What I should do
it'll be there for you.
I should have headcanon of a little time turner, the little Hermione.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
I gotta stop the goblins, but first, time turner, get that cat out of a tree.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Or you just say those orphans would be okay if I went and got an upgrade to my house.
They would love for me to make sure that I got extra points for Hufflepuff. Oh, yes, and I'm a Hufflepuff, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
You and Mark.
That's how it went down, Hufflepuff. In this, Sam is a Hufflepuff for reasons. So, yes.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Listen, Slytherin, I think by nature, but I was outvoted.
There you go.
One vote to
well, very good. Good picks. Dragon Age is a series that I always play a little bit of and I just fall off of. I don't know why, but one of my favorite gaming glitches was, I don't know if it was 2 or Inquisition. I can never remember. But when I went to a barn, goats were in the rafters. Don't know why. Don't know how they got there. They were just hanging out in the rafters. I'm like,
that's not a glitch.
Those are
rafter goats.
Rafter goats. The ice climbers climbed up the boat, the barn, and put them up there. Those rapscallions.
Which it's called a feature, and you're welcome.
Yeah, that's it.
True.
That's a feature. They'll be charging you for that in the new game.
They get the final laugh when they
first DLC rafter goats.
Yeah. They get the final laugh when they're taking care of business.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Mark, what you been playing?
I've been dabbling in a whole bunch of stuff and not spending a lot of time in anything because, like I said, I went away this weekend, and I think gaming wise, this may have been the worst weekend to go away ever for me. Just because it was like a triple threat of just perfect things. I love Marvel, I love Indiana Jones, and I'm a Fortnite addict. And this weekend,
I thought you were going to say you're a trombone fan.
Well, that too. This weekend, Indiana Jones dropped.
Yep.
And I got to play an hour of it or so last night after we got home from that treacherous drive, and then I fell asleep. The game's fantastic. It looks amazing. The opening is a replay from one of the movies. I won't say anything more than that, but it is a very familiar scene for fans of the series that is really, really cool to see in engine recreate what you saw on screen. And apparently they dropped an update today that adds full ray tracing.
Yeah.
Because I noticed a couple of things in a few of the opening scenes that I was like, I think they're kind of cheating on the ray tracing there, or like finding little ways around it. But I guess this one kind of adjusts that. But fantastic opening to the game. And then the real kind of opening, jumps you straight into the mystery, feels like an Indiana Jones movie already. And, I kind of stopped playing when you get that traditional indie plane on a map flying and stopping in Newfoundland before they go across the ocean, which is always just great for me. And it feels like it's going to be a great Indiana Jones movie. Gameplay wise, we'll see. The figuring out mysteries and figuring out the puzzles and stuff, I think is pretty intriguing. The combat so far, okay. The left and right punching mechanic and the parry blocking, countering kind of stuff. I think I either have to get used to, or I will get frustrated and turn the difficulty down so I can just mow through bad guys without getting frustrated, because this is a game that I really want to finish. But as Chris alluded to earlier, the game is fast and I am slow, and I may not want to master the parry blocking mechanic of the fist fighting kind of thing. So if I can indie it and some guy's coming up to me, he's like, hey, let's fist fight, and I just shoot him, that's going to be great. If I have to fist fight every single bad guy that comes along my way to get to the next puzzle, we'll see how I go. But so far, so good. I'm learning, and I'm really enjoying the atmosphere of the game, the puzzle of the game, the movie style quality of the game. Super cool for an indie fan.
Yeah. Mark, I was going to say, it's just like Punch Out. So just remember that,
right.
Block, then punch, get the star, knock them out. That's the first thing you do. But I have been listening to a couple of the folks who played it. The game actually discourages combat. That's what I've heard. Basically, don't use your gun. Don't alert people. Use your whip if you can for a little bit more. But basically, the developers actually just wanted to discourage combat, shooting, things like that. So they said, essentially, your gun is there like as your last result. But quite honestly, it's not meant for.
Okay.
So
perfect. Because so the next one of the bits I did. was that kind of lesson. I learned that very quickly after I lost a couple of like the first fist fights. And so then the next group of people I saw, I threw a wine bottle over in a corner, and the AI is pretty intelligent. So the guy kind of went over and checked that out, and I hit his friend in a shovel, in the back of the head with a shovel, knocking him out instantly. And then I kind of hid his body in a corner so his wine checking friend wouldn't find it. And then I kind of disappeared into the shadows. So that kind of combat was super, and I thought super indie style of just like, hey, look, a distraction, bop, and I'm gone. So yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Indie's not known for action scenes at all, so that would be horrible.
True. Yeah, he's never shot a Nazi. He would never shoot a Nazi.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Good thing they kept that in check.
Yeah. I understand keeping it moderately in check. I hope I do get to use my gun a bit, and I hope there is some combat. But I do understand not Uncharted style of like, hey, let's turn Indiana Jones into a mass murdering psychopath who just also happens to find treasure. Because like if I finish this game and Indy's murdered 470 people, then I'm going to feel a little weird. But if I shoot like a couple of Nazis here and there, cool, let's go. So I think it's going to be about balance. Yeah.
I've heard it compared also to, in some ways, Hitman and Dishonored. I don't like Dishonored, the stealth, but I really liked Hitman, the way it's not meant to, you're meant to just really role play and have some fun with it. And it does allow you to be a little bit wonky and weird. And if you do have to go to combat, kind of like your last resort, you can, and then you can hide again and do like that. So I am curious about the game myself. I struggled to actually get it installed today. Like it kept getting errors. And then I finally got it installed. And when I looked at it, it says, you played 8 hours. I'm like, no, I've been trying to install for 8 hours. So I don't know if that counts as playing. If it is, it's the worst game ever.
Weird. So that's hopefully I'll have a little bit more Indiana Jones to talk about later. I also jumped into Black Ops 6 for the first time playing Call of Duty in I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. So far only multiplayer. A couple of guys at work were talking about the multiplayer, so I jumped in and play a few of the new modes and old maps and new maps, and had a time with it. And then the new season of Fortnite dropped, so Call of Duty was left behind very quickly. So there's a new season, new chapter of Fortnite. It's really, really cool. The movement mechanics are making Assassin's Creed's movement like, take a lesson, Ubisoft. Holy, there's wall running and vaulting and a bunch of stuff that they've kind of been ramping up to. And then chapter 6, they just introduced a ton of movement mechanics. It's super smooth. Even if you don't play Fortnite, just like there's videos that I've come across like TikTok and Reels and stuff that is just like, why is Fortnite going so hard on this Assassin's Creed style movement? Like, holy shit, pay attention to what they're doing here. So it's really good. But the thing I was most excited about, again, this weekend, taking me away, they dropped OG Fortnite, the very first Fortnite map that I started on, like, 6 or 7 years ago. That map is back. The original map is as like an extra mode. So you can play this brand new, all the mechanics, all the new stuff, or you can go OG style and get the old weapons, the old map, the old point of interest. There are a few modern advancements like modern movement and that kind of stuff. But like for the most part, it is throwing me right back to when I first started playing this game, and it's so cool. So I dabbled in that for a bit. And then the other thing that, again, 3 things this one weekend, like one thing I'd accept, 2 things. Okay. Kind of quirky. 3 things, like what the heck? I have to go away on this weekend. And that's Marvel Rivals, free to play Overwatch-esque Marvel game. I love Marvel so much. I'm so excited I played 1 match of this so far as Moon Knight. Really cool character to play, but I want to test, like Todd said earlier, I want to test all of these characters. Them. It's like a fighting game.
Jeff the Land Shark. Got to play him.
I cannot wait to play as Jeff. It was a toss-up. My first match, I was like, do I pick Moon Knight or Jeff? And I wanted to go a little bit more attacky for my first match rather than support. So that's where Moon Knight got the play. But yeah, man, Jeff the Landshark's going to be fantastic to play as. He's so cute. So I really got to put some more time into that game. And then again, just got the Quest 3S for the Black Friday deals that were going on. And I did play after our last episode. I played Tetris Effect Connected. My wife and I both played that one. Such a great game. And then I saw that Trombone Champ has finally dropped in VR. If you haven't played Trombone Champ, I played it on, I want to say Switch, but it's been out on everything. It's such a ridiculously stupid music rhythm kind of game that almost sets you up, and it almost encourages you to play the wrong, or like to play wonky kind of notes, not the wrong notes, because you will get booed. But oh man, everything's just so goofy in this game. It's just so goofy, and VR is so good at making you feel like you're up on a stage and people are actually booing or cheering you in a crowd, that I was like taking bows in my living room and like really kind of getting into it. And my wife's just like watching me like, you look so ridiculous right now. Cause like I'm moving the trombone up and down and in and out. And it's just fill in the visuals. But it's a fun game. It's a very fun game to watch people play and to play yourself. So if you're, I think like Todd and I and a lot of other people this holiday season jumping into virtual reality, Trombone Champ might be one to test out. So again, dabbling in a whole bunch of stuff.
I love it, Mark. I love it. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Finding a buried treasure. Maybe that's your next favorite game.
Maybe. I really, out of all of these, I really want to get back into indie. Yeah. That's and maybe play some more rivals, but like Indiana Jones is top of my list. So if I'm going back to anything this week, it's indie for sure.
And indie's from I heard like an 18-hour experience. So it's like doable.
Oh, okay. Doable. Yeah.
Yeah. Versus like it's 85 hours long. So I'm like, ugh. And you can like in between, you can just say, hey, I'll play a round of Marvel Rivals because it's always there and it's quick rounds, which is very nice. Mark, I was going to say, I did see Luke Lore playing Fortnite and he was playing a interesting like Turtles-esque arcade beat 'em up.
Yeah, dude, there's like 2 or 3 different Turtles experiences in Fortnite now. They've partnered with TMNT. So there's like a whole, it's like, Fortnite Battle Royale, Fall Guys, the racing mode, the music mode, and then there's like, or Lego mode, and then Turtles. Like there's a roguelike, there's a beat 'em up. I might be missing one because I feel like there's like at least three games, and then creator made games like featuring the Ninja Turtle set. But yeah, like there's like a couple of very competent, good Ninja Turtle games just in Fortnite for free. Like here, play a Ninja Turtles game. It's great.
Fortnite is everything that PlayStation wanted Dreams to be. Right?
Oh, Dreams, home. Everything PlayStation is trying to do uniquely. Yeah.
You can do I haven't played Fortnite in a little while, but I used to play it fairly often with my roommate before he moved in. We played all the time, and it's so much fun. I mean, getting a Stormtrooper and a Ninja Turtle and Kratos and Master Chief on a squad, and then going to shoot the Easter Bunny in the face or something, and then they introduced, like you said, the music thing, the Rock Band knockoff, the
racing
stuff, the Lego stuff, and then all these, like you said, these creator modes. I kind of fell off of Fortnite. I got some of the characters that I really wanted, and I played ad nauseum with them, and did several battle passes, and then just kind of fell off. But I poo-pooed Fortnite for several years.
Everybody does before they get into it.
Well, it was the building mechanic, and I still refuse to play the standard building mode. As soon as they introduced no build mode, that flipped the script entirely, because the mechanics of the game otherwise are fantastic. Like I said earlier, game fast, Chris slow. I can't play a shooting game where I see you, I get to drop, I shoot you, and then you've built the Taj Mahal in 32 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I build a staircase? And like I can't. So I fell off Fortnite.
Can I make a rock?
Yeah. It's like, but every time there's a new season coming, I was like, oh, here's this, and oh, here's this character pack, and here's this, and every year in May they do their Star Wars, a couple of weeks when May comes out. And I'm like, now you're bringing in Watto as a character. I got to get Watto.
Everybody wants Watto.
I got to get the Gonk droid. Like, son of a bitch, you got me again.
Shit, man, if they don't have the Gonk droid.
Right, I'm telling you. He'd have to be a backpack. He'd be a bling item. The Gonk droid. He'd be a bling item. But like every time I hear about a new Fortnite season, I'm like, oh man, they're gonna get me.
Never stops.
And I've never been happier to be like financially unable to play a game, even though the game is free. I'm like, I can't get any skins. Joke's on you, Fortnite. I'm gonna play for free.
What's the saying? It's not for me, but I'm just happy for the people it's there for.
Oh yeah. Fortnite. Every time I see a new thing, I'm like, man, I want to try it. My roommate, he's like, oh, did you hear about the new Fortnite thing? I'm like, yeah, I heard about it. I can't play it. Leave me alone.
I'll just show up when Kendrick Lamar drops his next diss track on Drake, and then we'll go from there.
That was the other thing that happened that I sadly missed the live show of that season ender event, but holy crap, watching the replay if you haven't. Big concert with Eminem, Snoop, Ice Spice, and a beautiful tribute to Juice WRLD. That was like the most streamed event that they've had, I think, ever. Just how absolutely amazing send off.
How is this? Again, Fortnite is the platform that like Sony wished they had when they did. Oh, Dreams is a game, but you can make it yourself. Nah, Epic's like, hey, we made this game. Here you go nuts. And then it turns into this thing where we're live streaming concerts with Eminem and Snoop, and I'm like, this was a shooting game. It started off as a base building game first.
Exactly. A Fortnite with zombies, and it's like, we're just going to try this little battle royale thing that PUBG started. Yeah,
and it's the biggest fucking thing that's ever existed outside of like Minecraft, and it's a matter of time before it surpasses probably, and I don't know if maybe it has already. I don't know. Certainly financially, but like, it's unbelievable. I don't get how this thing just continues to innovate season after season. I don't get it. My God.
Yeah. I mean, they basically, it's amazing when you make one of the best game engines in the world and then you just let people go ham. So it makes like that versus like everybody else is like, oh yeah, we got to use Unreal too. So it's like they've already got the foot up, and that's where they try out new crap, and then it works out, and then they can sell their engine. It's the perfect moneymaker unless you're the Epic Game Store, and then I just go there for the free games.
I can't believe how long I poo-pooed it just because the building mechanic, and for me, that's when the flip switch. Like, oh, you don't have to build anymore. I'm in.
Yep.
I haven't gone back since zero build mode. Like that is all I play. I dropped into a match with my nephew, and he had build on. I was like, "How the hell do you do this? It's been 3 years. I've not played." It's for
smaller hands, Mark. Yeah,
but
not happening.
It is nice that like Fortnite seems like, as much money as they do make, it seems like they reinvest a lot of that into making improvements, into making it better. You could have a game like this that's just massive and just pocket it all and say like, the game's good enough. People are making shit. Let's sit on it for a couple of seasons.
They cannot do that. They cannot do that.
They paid Eminem and Snoop Dogg to do the concert. That didn't cost them $10,000 and a cheeseburger. They paid money to get Eminem and Snoop Dogg and all this and all these other people. And then the past concert they've done, they're making money blindfolded, hand over fist, but they're spending it to improve the game.
Ask Overwatch what happens when you don't release content. People find other things to do. So Fortnite can't, and nobody can keep up with Fortnite. That's the main thing. You saw what Halo tried to do. Halo couldn't get it right because they're like, we can maybe put out a suit of armor or a map every 2 months. And it's like, that's not how it works, folks. Not when you're paying. I did want to say, Mark, on Trombone Champ, though, man, just think of what Wii Music could have been.
If Wii Music didn't, that's half a joke, I think. But like, if Wii Music didn't take itself so seriously, if Wii Music didn't take itself so seriously, it could have been Trombone Champ.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
if they leaned into the absurdity of playing with like the Wii remote as
motion,
drums,
yeah.
if they understood how memeable Ravi drums was, and instead they rolled this jackass out as a
Yep.
serious, hey, watch this game demo. If they had of just like recognized that that was an insane moment of internet stupidity and just a memeable thing.
Memes didn't exist back then, Mark.
wasn't
Easily.
meme culture.
Yeah, memes didn't
Exactly.
exist.
Yeah.
Meme culture
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. It was too early for its own good.
Yeah.
It missed the boat
Yeah.
by about
Maybe
five
that's
or
it.
6 years. It missed the boat.
It's a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, Trombone Champ essentially has the same soundtrack of like free birthday music and John Philip Sousa. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's free, whatever, royalty free tracks. It's stupid. Nothing sounds or looks good.
No, it's co-op mode. It's bad.
Just know it's a joke. That's the difference, and you're right on.
Yeah. It is kind of funny that Nintendo now has their Nintendo app music. And I'm like, they really need to come back with a music game. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. They've got that whole thing. They played around with it with certain things, but they really need to come up switch to make a fun video game. Even like team up with Trombone Champ. Like they teamed up with was it Crypt of the Necromancer? Just team up with Trombone Champ and do a Nintendo but the Nintendo version has a Nintendo tracks. So that's the only way you can do it. I think that would be amazing. Maybe make the Ocarina Champ. I don't know.
I want Diddy Kong Bongo Revival.
Yeah, exactly. Just whatever it is, Bongo Champ, and it's compatible with your GameCube bongos. Hook them up, and then you know what? 8-bit Doe will make bongos, and everybody will be happy.
They will, and they'll have a color scheme like the GameCube, and they'll do the NES, the Super Nintendo color scheme on the bongos. Sell 1 million.
Why don't I work for Nintendo? I don't even run Nintendo at this point. I
don't even like Nintendo, but I can make a good idea.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. With Alarmo support with your music game.
Jesus.
Your shitty music wakes you up in the morning.
Exactly. It'll play your favorite tracks that you made.
Get out what you put in.
Trombone Champ. Yeah. That would wake you up every day. Oh my God. Yeah.
You let your kids do a bongo song. You wake up to that.
Yeah, that's a great way to get your kids up. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I am enjoying this. Like Mark, I did partake, finally got back into the world of VR. Chris and I were talking. He had the Quest 1. I also had the Quest 1. I was a little bit, talk about a spite. I guess this was a spite purchase in some ways because the Quest 1 spited me because they dropped support really fast. And it's like, oh, none of the good games are on it anymore. I'm like, but with Quest 3S, I feel like I'm at the entry point where it's like, I've got years ahead. It's great. They've done a great job with Quest 2 support. So I'm like, I feel like then they're all in on this when making the 3S kind of like what the Quest 2 was and the Quest 1 was with that lower entry point. I really like it. Played around with it. My only complaint so far is I absolutely hate the head strap. So I'm going to invest in a new head strap. I don't really like it at all. Yeah. So I've ordered one. It's going to come and it's actually going to have a battery pack in it too. So I think it's kind of cool.
Nice.
And it's got it's got the twist it to make it tighter.
Yeah, that's so I bought the Elite strap for mine too. But not the one with the battery. I think you're onto something.
Yeah. So because I was asking XCP, they have a really good VR chat area now, and I was asking like, what do you recommend? They said, yeah, okay, cool, I'm into that. And then I'm going to get inserts, Mark. I'm going to get the Zenny Optical. Even in the thing, they even offer it like Zenny Optical. You can get lens inserts. I'm like, I'm doing that. So I'm going to do that because I want to take these bad boys off and just have a good time. So that's my 2 investments I'm going to make, and I can't wait to get into it. Mark, for like 20 minutes before we get the podcast, I started Batman. So I did play something. So I was one step ahead of you from last week. We were like, I just got the thing. So I got the thing and I started Batman Arkham. It's great because all my content showed up from my Quest 1 days. But very cool. But I don't know what it is with me in it because I'm short. Maybe it's like VR doesn't like my height. So I definitely screwed up with adjusting my height because like in Batman, like you start off the mission, like you got to grab something on your belt, but my belt seemed like it was in the wrong place and I felt like I was sinking in the ground. So I'm like, what the hell? And I couldn't get my other side. So I'm like, I got to figure out and I can't remember like, how do I adjust the height again? And yeah.
There's something weird with because I agree with you with the Batman. I've played other games where it's way easier to grab stuff on your belt. That might not just be a you thing because I had the same issue with Batman in this where it's like not where it should be, or it's more difficult.
I couldn't see it.
You can't
I felt
see
like
it?
I'm seeing my clothes rather than my hip.
Yeah.
I think it is
no,
a
I've
height
had the
issue.
same issue with that.
I think it is a height issue. At 5'7", and you mentioned I had the Quest 1, and like you, I got it 3 weeks. They announced the Quest 2. I was pissed.
So pissed.
Yeah,
of course. But no, at 5'7", listen, I throw a straight punch in a VR boxing game.
and punching in the junk.
I'm dick punching all day. So it's just it's like, oh, penalty. Like, it's a straight shot. It's not my fault. His wiener.
It's like we're Little Mac in Punch Out where you got to jump.
Why am I fighting Shaq in this game? Every damn opponent is Shaq. I'm using this point as a speed bag. It's not my fault. I get it. It's thing.
I did ask me if I want to adjust the height, and I'm like, it's for some reason, it's like, do you want to adjust the height? And I'm like, nah, I'll be fine.
No, your pride said no. I'm a man.
Rookie mistake, and I'm trying well, how do I get back? And I got the wrong button. I pushed the wrong. So I'm trying to get my sea legs and all the menus and everything. But so far so good. I love the pass through. It's amazing. You can see what you're doing. The grips are better than the Quest 1, where getting those batteries out on the Quest 1 was like, am I doing it right? Doing it wrong? They made it a lot better. There's actually a button. So I really like it. I like the tech, and I'm really going to get into it. And I've got some money, so I got to figure out what I'm going to buy. But yeah, got to play in there on the mark. We'll have to have a play date, play some mini golf, some different things. We did the Rick and Morty, but I had the old set. So that one was a hot junk because it ran out of battery. So, and then I got to find somebody to pawn off my Quest 1 with.
Yeah, I did manage. I can't remember last time I managed to sell the Quest 2. So I'm very happy that sold very quickly. And now I'm just enjoying the 3. So that's awesome, man. To hear that
3 or 3S?
The 3S. Sorry, yeah, 3S.
Okay. So Luke Lore had the 3S and he upgraded to the 3, which I thought was great because he said it's the lenses. But I'm like, I do not want to know how good the lenses are.
No,
and I'll be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly happy. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I'm so looking for it. So I just need to find that grandma that's buying something for the grandson. I'm like, oh, he wants the Quest? This is the Quest.
Ironically, it's my parents who are trying to get me to buy a Quest. So my brother upgraded. My brother had the 2. He upgraded to the 3. He gave my parents the 2. And then they went out and they bought another 2. So my mom and dad have their own Quest. They have their own Quest 2s. Oh, no shit. My brother's got a Quest 3. And they play, like my parents play. My parents are old. They don't play games. But they put on the Quest and they play with the grandkids, my brother's sons.
Oh, that's nice.
They play like bowling and they do sports games. And
that's great.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And my parents are like, Chris, have you used? I'm like, yeah, Mom, I've had a Quest. I'm not like, Jesus Christ, I played VR. And my parents are like, you got to get
Your parents are too cool for you, Chris.
They are. My parents are so cool. And so my parents are trying to get me. I'm like, Chris, you got to, so we can, and they want to do like family like game nights. And I'm
telling them that Christmas is coming up by all means.
They have supported me in ways, again, I won't get it. They supported me this year, but I think in the future, when I'm back on my feet a little bit and working again and doing all that, a used, Quest 2 or maybe a Quest 3S is in my future, because doing like a big family game night because I'm here in Jacksonville, my parents are in South Florida, my brother's in Virginia and stuff like that.
Perfect.
So it would be really great. But yeah, you mentioned like pawning it off to a grandma. I was like, well, Grandma's got 2. So
exactly. That's amazing.
You're going to find someone's grandma to get a Quest, because
just age gate your parents' headset, because we don't want them going down the path of we don't want them being adulterated online. That'd be bad.
No, don't do
that. So just an update: Dragon Age Veilguard. I am now 45 hours in, loving it to pieces. I will say it's been very hard. I am probably going to be the bad guy in this game because I can't figure out who to romance. I'm kind of romancing 2 people at the same time. I don't know if I'll get caught, quite honestly.
Oh, yeah, you will.
So you will. Well, I'm sure I will. So I'm like, at what point do I because there's a point where it's like, it asks you, do you want a romance, or are you just flirting and want to break it off? Mm-hmm. So and it's unfortunately I'm in like this this lighthouse where it's basically like this extra dimensional area where so basically you got a house over there, or a bungalow over there, you got a bungalow over there, you go, so it's like it's too close for comfort. And I had to let a couple people down easy because, just me. Rook, with the long red hair. I'm beautiful. I'm a very handsome man. So it's a great game. I absolutely love it. Although I will say this game has got the controversy of the woke thing. And I'm like, what are people talking about? I'm like, yeah, there's one character. I do have to say that this game did suffer from some of the worst what is it? Dissonance? What's the terminology they use for it?
Cognitive dissonance.
Yes, where I'm like, I'm in a fantasy world thing, and they brought in something that is so 2020, 2024 that they actually use terminology that I'm like, why? This felt like somebody. Yes, I'll spoil it. They use the term non-binary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think people in this fantasy world have ever heard that term. I mean, it's so funny because they even said the one character says, in my language, there's a term for this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then they don't even bring that up again. And they drop non-binary. I'm like, I have nothing wrong with that, but it was just the way it was handled. It was so took me out of a fantasy role in the experience. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if they had used another term, it's just it felt like it just weird. It was like, that's the first time. So I'm like,
as I understand it, and again, I haven't played the game because I'll be playing the trilogy or whatever. As I understand it, and this is not, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm pro. Listen, ally. I am your best friend. As I understand it, I believe it's the creative director is, and again, I'll apologize if I misgender anybody, but I believe the creative director is a transgendered individual. I'll say that because I don't know male or female, whatever. But I believe that the creative director is a transgendered individual, and that and I get that you want to put yourself into the game. You want to see yourself and that's great. And the option. I mean, the character I downloaded because they put on. They just
the character creator.
Yeah. I have made so many characters, and I don't understand how the hair physics in this game works the way it does. I made a dwarf with the most luscious head of hair I've ever seen in my life. But even in the character creator, it's like, you can have your pronouns. You can be male, female, and then have your different pronouns.
You can change your voice. You can do whatever you want, which is great.
And that's so amazing. And I'm up. Yes, you should. But when you have an otherwise fantasy setting of different races that don't exist, the Kunari don't exist on any plane of existence, and then you bring in a very, I don't want to say American, but a very Americanized.
It's like a Western it's a Western perspective that is very feels a little off,
and not for a negative reason, but a politicized terminology. It doesn't fit the fantasy world that you have created, and you should have that in there. That should be an option. Certainly, you should be able to have that option as a character or as an NPC, and have all these different parts. But when you use a term that's to the game, and you can describe what that means even in the game, in the lore of the universe that you've built, but use a fantasy term. You've got all these other fantasy terms.
And they did. That's the biggest thing. They did use a term where they talk about somebody not feeling comfortable in their own skin, and the characters dealing with that. I totally get them. Like, that was great. It was poetic. It made me feel like in this world that is something that exists, and it becomes a talking point. And there's some really good discussions, and it's very supportive of this character, and you can be very supportive, enjoying them, and it's great. And there's a conversation with the character with their mother where it happens, and I'm like, this is amazing. And that was my only issue. So I felt like that was something I felt like they failed from an immersive narrative in keeping you in the world. I think there's other games where they can do that. It's modern. I think of what is the series? Was it called True Colors? I'm always screwing up the name of the game where it's like young characters. They're dealing with emotional issues.
Oh my God. Oh my God. They just released a new one this year too.
It's I keep calling the Colors game. I can't remember.
Life is Strange?
Life is Strange, yes. And they deal with issues like that, but it's a modern world. So you kind of feel like, I get that. Yes. Yeah.
You almost expect in a fantasy setting to have more of a, like you said, they came up with a name for it in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Because you almost expect, a different name for it or something like that. If they're going to be giving different names to everything, and like you said, it's not always or not usually real world counterparts. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if they could have borrowed something real world that
from historical culture or something like that. Even
I'm thinking some Native American cultures called it two-spirited or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Would that be a little less jarring and I haven't played this. I have no idea of the context of this character or the game, but I'm thinking of something that might sound more fitting in a fantasy setting rather than, like Chris said, a very Americanized kind of sound to the word, the terminology, or something where if everything else is,
it'd be like fighting a dragon and then going to Burger King. It's like,
yeah.
It's very of the time in a world that's supposed to feel out of time. It's supposed to feel like a different universe.
You're dropping the word yeet into Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, or just like you've got Riz. If they drop that, I mean, and I will admit one of the characters comes off a little bit like, oh yeah, you sound a little too American, like you're too little casual, and when everybody else is speaking at British accents and high language and doing the thing, and oh my god, or you got one guy who's almost like Antonio Banderas, very sexy, very Spanish man. He's an amazing character. Like, and everybody talked about him. He's amazing. It was funny because it's like in a world where I believe there's Kunari, which are kind of like half dragon people with horns. I feel like I can get my suspension up for anybody and their sexuality, their gender, whatever. They can have two genders. But yeah, it was just weird. But other than that, I mean, I still love the character, still love everything. And I'm still going forward. And I was trying to figure out how much for I have to do. But man, that game it's not like it levels with you in difficulty at times. So you never feel like you can just go in and wreck house. You always feel like you're getting a challenge, which is kind of nice. Some people don't like that. Some people I want to feel like at this point, I destroy everything. I can beat you down with one thing. So I do like that. And I'm getting close to the end and I'm really just loving the lore. And I think, Chris, because you have just been enjoying those games, I think you really like it because it builds on those things. It is very much more action oriented.
Yeah.
But I do love the combination of characters. The skill tree is pretty great, and I really do enjoy the storytelling. Some people don't, but I just really like it. Feels like there's a very heavy narrative. Like after you finish a mission, you've got like a narrative saying, well, they didn't know, but in the background, this character is doing this. And it's like, ooh, it feels very, I can't wait to see what happens next. Like I'm watching a show in the ways. So really enjoying the game. So yeah, I probably will be finishing it soon. I think I've got like 5 main story quests left. So, I mean, it's been great. I did not know if I would like this game. Really love it. I've been wanting a BioWare game that felt like Mass Effect. What they learned from Mass Effect, they applied it to Dragon Age, and I love it so much. Other than that, really quickly, Marvel Capcom Fighting Collection. This came out for Switch and PS4. This is such a good value. It goes back to the original days of like the first Marvel fighting game that Capcom made, which was, I believe, is either Marvel Children of the Atom or Marvel Superheroes. One of those two. But you got like the one where it's like they're fighting with Thanos to get the Infinity Gauntlet stones, which is cool because you actually get those power-ups within it. And then the original X-Men game where you're just fighting X-Men characters. Then they go into, I believe it was X-Men versus Street Fighter, where they had brought that crossover in. And then they did... there was another game. It was Marvel versus Street Fighter. I think it was Marvel versus Street Fighter. I'm trying to remember. They kept on going for it, and they're like, hell, it's just Marvel versus Capcom now, which is amazing. Then Marvel versus Capcom 2. And they even threw in the Punisher beat-em-up game. It's amazing. It's wonderful. You can get both the US and the Japanese version of these games on it. They allow you to switch. For most part, I think they're all the arcade games. But in instance, they typically pick the best one. So maybe it was like the Dreamcast version of this was the best version. Cool. So you get that. But you weren't getting like, by all means, I don't know if they ever made like handheld versions of like the Marvel versus games, but they didn't include those. But I know in some of the other collections they've done, they're like, oh, you get the Game Boy version of Street Fighter 2. Like, well, of course I want that.
Yeah, to be fair, the Dreamcast version of anything is the best version of that game.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I love it. I love the series, so it's well worth owning because I don't know where you'll find this collection get together again. It doesn't include Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity, but you can obviously get those still games, I believe, on other services. But they're amazing. I love this. So definitely pick it up. It's like $50. I heard they might be bringing out a version for Xbox, but the big problem with Xbox, apparently the MT frameworks they use for Capcom was actually not supported on Xbox One for some reason. So they can't just easily port the games. They'd actually have to create basically a new engine for it or something like that, or put more money into it. So I think Xbox may be supporting them to do it because they should.
Sounds like every PS3 game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every PS3 game you'll never be able to play, but you can stream it, and that's not always great. But the cool news is these series are so successful. We're getting another collection of Capcom games, which are coming out soon. I think it's Capcom Fighting Collection 3, and it finally has 2 Power Stone games. The Power Stone games are coming to modern systems, boy. All these cool games are coming. I love this. So I'm very excited to see Capcom finally embracing all these arcade game collections. I love arcade games. So, and I even have a PS4 fighting stick, which that is my way to play with a fighting stick. So, but I can't wait for that. And then other than that, I just want to call it one thing. I didn't get to play Indiana Jones, but I did want to play. I was hanging out with my buddy. We were going to hang out on Saturday night, and he's not a video gamer by any means anymore. But we're on Discord, and I realized you can play games together in Discord. They have games, and so I was playing up. It was very fun, and I think, Mark, we should do this for the next, our get together, because we played a what do you meme? We played that game, which was very fun. And you can play with bots. It's absolutely the bots are hilarious because they're so bad at applying GIFs to things. It's horrible. They even picked a lot of the same ones. We're like, what is this? So that was fun. Then we played a trivia game, which you can play together against each other, against other teams, which is fun. And then the last game I played, which I was just trying to find a game that was action packed, and that game is called Bobble League. So this is essentially soccer in Discord, where you're like little guys. You have like a 4-man team. You pick them, and you can pick different teammates. But it's turn-based, and the only reason it's turn-based is because the ball goes and bounces around. You have to score goals. That's all it is. But what you're doing is you're basically controlling your characters in a dimension. Basically, you pull it back, almost like pinball or pool. Your guys basically go one direction, and they can go a little bit or very far. And then basically everybody picks their decisions in real time, and it gives you so much time, and then the clock stops, and then the actions happen. So you see the ball go all over the place. It scores or you don't score, and there are power-ups. Like you can put ramps in. You can move characters around. You can put down like goo that traps somebody. You can replace characters. You can make big head mode, which makes them more powerful. And you essentially go for 90 turns or the first team to 3. Wow. It's hilarious. We had so much fun, and it's just goofy, and you're like, oh my God. So it kind of reminds me of one of those like simple to learn, hard to master, where you try to figure out where the ball's going to go, like pinball or something like that. And it just chaos happens. You're like, how did that happen? And the ball turns into a beach ball too, or, the guys move around. So it's highly recommended, and it's free, obviously. So just look through Discord. You can even make your own server. Like I made my own Todd Oxtra server, Mark, where I can invite people who can play games together, and it's through voice, there's video, and it's fun. I highly recommend Discord gaming.
All right.
Yeah. It's something to do. Like Chris, you talked about playing with your parents. You could hook your parents up and they could play with a family member. I don't know how many people you can have, but I imagine it's a lot, and it's very easy to do. Maybe cast it to a big screen and play it that way.
Interesting.
So
I'm on and off Discord in waves, and I haven't used Discord in quite a little while, but I didn't know that was a feature that existed in Discord. I'm not sure if that's a semi-new thing or just...
they've been adding it, and there's a list of... Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's very social games. It's like, those games like Jackbox type games are in there. But there's also, like I said, there's all these weird little games that are on the side. So, yeah, I think it's something everybody should check out. So... that is what I've been gaming. So once again, a potpourri of gaming, Mark, just like you. So this has been a lot of fun. So next week, though, I hope to be fully into Indiana Jones, playing some other games, and we'll talk more about VR, hopefully. So with that, we finished what we've been gaming, but now it's time to listen to an amazing ad, unless you're a Patreon. Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencaster. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencaster's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to Zencaster.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show. Okay, now it's time for the bonus round. And think of ourselves as Santa Claus or Krampus. We're forming our lists, the naughty and the nice. I did Seed Red 1. I know it's beleaguered. A lot of people don't love it. We loved it. Krampus is in that. He's great. And Santa is in that as well. The Rock actually acted in the movie. So go see Red 1 if you want something fun for the whole family. But considering our mantle of being Krampus and Santa this year, we've got to make a naughty and a nice list. So we're looking at 2024 in the world of gaming. So who's been naughty, who's been nice? Could be a person, a thing, a developer, a publisher, a game, accessory hardware, service, a trend, or a game mechanic. By all means, we're not here to go through all of those, or as Mark pointed out before we recorded, he said, Todd, I know you. We'll be here all night. So there we go.
I didn't quite word it like that, but close enough.
I know what you're talking about. And Charlie would say, why are you guys podcasting for 2 hours again? So I fully appreciate that. So before we get into this, because we're all going to have our takes on it, Mark, we have someone who covered all the bases for his naughty and nice list.
Everything. Yeah. Famous Seamus, again, coming in clutch with the breakdowns for everything. So today's no different. Broke down everything here. Naughty or nice list. Nice developer Atlas gave us not one, not two, but three amazing RPGs plus an expanded version of SMTV. And the guy who developed Balatro would be on the nice list for that one, I believe. Publisher, Capcom, they gave us a few new games, plus ports of games everyone wanted, especially Ace Attorney Investigations and Marvel vs. Capcom Collections, which we just heard about. As far as nice games go, Astrobot, the game made me feel like a little kid again. Accessory, he didn't really have. That's, I think, the only category that he didn't have anything. Service, we've got Game Pass, PS Plus, Amazon Prime. He got to try out a bunch of games, including Indiana Jones, Killer Frequency, Dino Crisis, and more. A nice trend, cloud gaming, lets you play anywhere. And game mechanics, photo mode this year was really utilized in a lot of games.
Can I say something about photo mode?
Yes, you may.
I'm lame. I don't know how to do photo mode, so I always just take a picture of the screen with my camera. Or do it, just do the screenshot in PlayStation. I'm so lame, guys. Yeah. So I've been naughty because I need to learn how to use a photo mode.
I will say the photo mode in, Chris, I don't know if you use this one, but the photo mode in Hogwarts Legacy is fantastic.
I haven't. I love photo mode in games. It is an excellent trend. But I like it when, and maybe there's an option and I haven't figured it out. I like when photo mode has got like maybe you double press the sticks in to activate photo mode in an instant when something's happening on screen. If I have to pause, like I'm playing and then I'm like, I need to pause the game and go to an option menu and select photo mode and then do it. It pulls me out of it a little bit. One of the things I like, The Last of Us, the remaster and then the part 2 and whatnot, they had amazing photo modes. Horizon had a great photo mode. No, it did not. I just use photos. Last of Us photo mode, I'd be playing and I would just stop randomly whenever there was a particularly beautiful scene. Same thing with the Uncharted series, Uncharted 4. I love photo. Spider-Man 2's photo mode is top tier photo mode.
Mm.
I love photo mode in games, but Todd, I'm not great at it. I don't have like a photographer's eye for like composition and stuff like that.
I
But
just
I do.
can't figure out how to do it.
I'll mess with
It's the
filters.
worst.
I'll try to put the camera in a place to my my lame non-photography eye, like, oh, that looks dramatic, and I'll use filters, like a particularly violent scene. Like I did a lot of violent photography in The Last of Us because it's a violent game, but I would put like a black and white filter on it all because I'm like, oh, it's artistic violence.
Yeah.
And yeah, photo mode, depending on the game and how it's implemented, and if I can get into it really quickly, I don't have to pause the game, find the menu, and then open it up. I can just double click.
How do you do all the things? How do you change the filters? Yeah, it's too much.
Real quick, in an instant, when something happens on screen, while I'm like, oh, that would be bam, real quick. I capture it right then and there, and then let me edit right from there. Photo mode's amazing. I love photo mode.
I will say Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom had the best photo modes because essentially it was just using the tablet and then you could make Link do like the things.
Oh, really?
So that was the easiest by all means, and it was
Hilarious.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And like you'd have something attacking you and he'd just be holding a selfie camera with a little like peace sign or something like that. Then there'd be just like a giant
they embraced it. Yeah.
Wow.
It was great. Yeah.
Nice.
I loved how Hogwarts Legacy did it. And again, I didn't really play this game, but I watched my wife play it a lot. And you can do things like, oh, this is a really cool scene, but you can also hide your character, hide the NPCs, turn things off and on. If if you pause it and your character kind of looks goofy, you can change the poses
of amazing.
The character within the photo mode.
Oh, shit.
It's like AI. Yeah.
I'm going to
add a bunch of really cool stuff and then jump right back into the game proper and your character goes back to what they were doing. But like,
that's cool.
If shit's hitting the fan and you pause it and your character's kind of like a little wonky looking, you can fix that right in the photo mode.
Sam Wellington.
Or just get rid of them altogether.
Well, we're getting in next-gen consoles is like, hey, Google, take a cool photo of me in this game and remove that guy in the background. It's like that person says, can you edit out my boyfriend in this photo? And then they just screw with you. Yeah. Love photo mode. Love a good photo mode. Well, I just found this, Mark. So if you thought Seamus wasn't done, he's not, because we get into the naughty mode. Right. Oh, yeah. So he says developer Microsoft for not only laying off hundreds of workers, but also closing 3 studios, including Alpha Dog Games, one of the few studios in Nova Scotia, along with Tango Gameworks, which made their game a best game of 2023. That was one of the most infuriating things I saw this year. I did not know they were from, Alpha Dog didn't know they were from Nova Scotia. I imagine the development community is not that big, so that's a huge gut punch.
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks. Publisher, EA, Activision, WB Games, and any other developer publisher who won't agree to SAG-AFTRA demands for AI protection for voice actors. Yeah, we had the whole voice actor, everybody last year that was basically settling their labor disputes, and the voice actors are still waiting out to have their needs met. Sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Game, Funko Fusion, a very lazy Lego clone. I didn't play it, but it looks so bad. I did play it a little bit. It's kind of fun how the way they incorporated things, but I totally get it. Yeah, it's not as exciting as Lego games. Accessory, again, I got nothing. Service, Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo did release some good games on the NSO's service, but it's still drip feeding us with games, of course. But you can play all the Donkey Kong Country GB games for some reason. Yeah, but no Donkey Kong 94. There you go, Mark. Service. Exactly. Trend. AI generated things in games. Anything created by AI is literally just poorly replicating another person's hard work. You don't create things in AI. If I see any kind of AI generated things involved in an upcoming game, I won't touch it. Game mechanic, not being able to fast forward through parts of a game. Looking at you, Princess Peach Showtime. Trying to collect all the collectibles feel like a chore, especially when I have to wait for the level to let me move to the next part. Totally agree. Some quality of life measures that I just feel like a lot of people are meshing out with. So please fix those. But lastly, a late to the party, but I don't want to forget him. Daddy Diwali has a buy rent return.
Oh, nice.
Late in the game. I'm doing this in real time editing. He says, buy Iceman, rent Sub-Zero, return those guys. I have no idea who they are. Yes, we don't either. Apparently they've got dirt on Nintendo. They keep showing up. There we go, gentlemen. So with that, we're going to you want to just hit our naughties first, then get to our nice? We'll start negative and go positive. Let's do that.
Sure.
Okay, we'll do a round robin. So tell us when we're going to stop, and then we'll go from there. So, Chris, since you're guest, what is first on your naughty list?
My naughty list. I'm wearing my PlayStation shirt, and I'm gonna sound like a fanboy, and I will admit that up front, and I will apologize as well. But Game Pass, I will be the first one to say that Game Pass is probably still one of the best values in gaming, and I don't think there's much of an argument to be made. However, the changes made to Game Pass, the multi-tiered thing, the removal of day one first party titles on game. If you have Game Pass, you're going to get Gears of War, you're going to get Halo, and because it's not as profitable as they need it to be, actually we changed our mind. You can get Game Pass and you'll still get games, and you'll do this, and you have online play. But if you want those day one games, it's $20 a month for Game Pass Ultimate. So we're gonna get you in, and then we're gonna pull the rug out from underneath you because we need to make money. And I get that. The more stuff you add to any service, everybody's service goes up. I don't fault them for necessarily having a price hike. Every service of any kind of streaming service is going to go up. The more content you add to a service, the more it costs to upkeep, licensing, all that kind of stuff. So I got no problem with them raising the price. Although I think it went up twice. I think this year, and I could be wrong. But
so your issue is they reduced what the offerings were already offering.
Yes.
Took away some things, and they changed some of the names, which made it come off as weird because now they got Game Pass Core, which replaced Xbox Live Gold. They basically added a new tier, which was, well, they actually didn't. They basically took Game Pass Ultimate and they said, you don't need it anymore. You just need Game Pass, but it gives you online and gives you a collection of games, no longer day and date. And then Game Pass Ultimate, they increased the price, but then their
initial selling point for Game Pass was, look, all of our first-party titles, and now we own everybody, so everything's a first-party title, is day and date. It comes out, it's available on day one on Game Pass. And that's not the case anymore. And again, overall, it's still a great value. I mean, $20 a month, while is expensive, yes, but if you play when they eventually have constant stream of releases with all the studios they own, which we still haven't seen yet, but when they do, it'll be a great value. If you get, 3 or 4 banger 10 out of 10 games, 9 out of 10 games, it's still an unbeatable value at what would be $70 a pop for those games. But pulling the rug out and saying, actually, no, you need to upgrade is, I think, pretty shitty. And even if I understand the business reasons why, you're Microsoft, you have more money than anybody on the planet. Eat the loss. Eat the loss. You're Microsoft. You spent $44 billion. Eat the loss. You can
$69 billion.
$69 billion. And as a division, Microsoft, as an entire division, as Microsoft, it's nothing. They could shut Xbox Game Studios down, and Microsoft wouldn't know it. They wouldn't give a shit. Eat the loss. It's that's why it's a naughty thing. You didn't need to. You did it because you can, but it was a shitty thing to do. And because they're Microsoft, because of any company, Nintendo included, Sony and you're Microsoft, you can eat the loss. Who gives a shit? You've got more money than...
not when you send the $69 billion. Now you can't eat the loss.
And that's
you got to make money.
Now they got eyeballs.
Make money, make hustle,
everybody looking at this little gaming division of Microsoft, where now we have people who are in charge of the important stuff looking at Phil Spencer. Why aren't we making enough money? Charge people more.
Yeah.
So that's...
And I think you're onto something where I think if they had timed that announcement a little bit later, after we see a greatly received Call of Duty, Indiana Jones drop, they dropped this price hike, feature takeaway stuff at a time when their prior games, they made a lot of purchases, they made a lot of acquisitions, but their game releases and the pedigree of those games completely shit the bed. And I don't have a PlayStation. I have an Xbox and a Switch, and I'd love to have a PlayStation, but just, I've spent my money on other things, and that's a thing that I have to live with.
But your brother has a PlayStation, which you can borrow, Mike. I keep telling you, borrow your brother's PlayStation.
Oh yeah. And we've had discussions about doing just that recently. But like, so my go-to gaming place is an Xbox, and I have, for the most part, had Game Pass. But like, there've been times this year where I've completely dropped Game Pass, and not only did I not miss a good release, I didn't miss a game release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for months at a time. And you're saying in a drought, when you own half the game studios in the world, you can't even release a game, let alone a good game.
Yeah.
But you're still going to charge me extra and take away stuff from the basic tier. Get your head out of your ass and do this a year from now when it seems like you've earned it. I
especially when this is
agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially when this is the first year with Call of Duty on Game Pass, day and date.
If they announce this in June after Call of Duty, Indiana Jones, the next Call of Duty is coming up.
Yeah.
If they say, hey, the next Call of Duty, we have proved that Game Pass is worth it, and now we have to pay for this, dude, have at her. Let's go.
Yeah.
But doing that after just like a wet towel of a year, just that was such a
communication's never been great. Microsoft, and not that any of them do it fairly well, but Microsoft's communication and their timing of their communication, they step on rakes like it's their job. That's their thing, man. It's bad. Yeah.
I will layer on something else so interesting. Now they're all in cloud. As we had the Xbox, this is an Xbox, and still the only way you can get to play Game Pass streaming is behind a $20 Ultimate Pass. So that's really disappointing too. I don't know how you're getting people into the door at $20 a month. That is a very expensive. That's one of the most expensive subscriptions for people that are casual. So if they want to check it out and here's your game, I feel like that has been a missed opportunity to make an affordable streaming subscription option for Microsoft. And I've asked for that. I've asked for a tier. They could have made it the $15 tier. They could have made Core and said Core plus streaming, but you can only stream the Core games. But at least it can experience Core or streaming.
You bring an interesting point, and just because you brought it up, I'm going to segue just slightly into a nice listing on the opposite end of that.
Perfect. Spectrum. Make us happy.
On the opposite end of that same spectrum, and again, I'm going to sound like a Sony pony, and that's fine. But facts are facts, and you can argue them all day long. Sony dropped the Portal. And I'll get into some other nice things that they did. But the Portal as its own, fine, great, whatever. But then they do a firmware update and say, hey, now, if you're already in our top tier. Not, hey, if you're already a member of our top tier stream, because again, they have the three, whatever
premium, I believe, is the top tier with streaming.
Bronze, silver, platinum trophy. If you're in the platinum tier, they should have gone with exactly. If you're in the platinum tier of PS Plus, the device that you already own, we've now added value to a device that was, it did what it did, and now we've unlocked a new feature. And if you already have it now, you can stream games without needing a PS5 at all. For that same price. We've now added functionality to a device if you're already in, because no one's going to go buy a Portal because, I can stream directly to it with PS Premium and I don't have to buy a PS5. No one's doing that, because if you've bought a Portal, you're already a hardcore PlayStation fan as it is. So they're not doing this to incentivize people to buy a Portal. They're saying, you already got one. Cool, we sold them. We can't keep them in stores. They're selling out. We're just going to add value to this thing. We're going to unlock this feature set that we probably had in mind, and now it's a news beat, new firmware update, and if you're already at the premium tier, the platinum tier, you get new stuff. Whereas, like you said, Todd, Microsoft's strategy was, we're going to charge you. We're going to charge you for it. We've taken away this stuff. We've changed it. Now, if you want to do any of these things, you have to pay us. It's just different, similar outcomes, different strategies going into it, and different ways of announcing it.
And usually Sony's the worst at like advertising or communicating or marketing. So it is kind of interesting. Like everybody is like trying to figure out how to communicate, and Nintendo just drops a Twitter bomb for their next release. So we don't know what people are doing. But we should have made like our naughty list is just like bad marketing 101. Everybody's naughty because nobody's good marketing. So Mark, drop me a naughty. And maybe a nice to follow it up to make, give me a better taste in my mouth.
A naughty, I'm going to say games that shut down. We've heard, Seamus already said to developer layoffs and that kind of stuff. But, there were games that were just put out and shut down this year. Like
Concord?
Like Concord's
open closing the same week. Concord. Hello.
Yeah, Concord's the worst example. But there was just one like last week that was out in
X Defiant.
Yep.
X Defiant, released in May and just shut down, or April or whatever it was. And I guess like it makes sense business. Why pay for servers? Why keep this game going if nobody's playing it? But I think it's such a naughty list kind of thing for these games to come out. Yeah. And I'm noticing it already when I look into Marvel Rivals. Chris, we talked about earlier, jumping into Fortnite and seeing, a gonk droid or something as a backpack. And I've always said that Fortnite is so good and they have slightly expensive, but kind of reasonable prices for the skins. For me anyway, I've a lot of time, and I definitely don't buy as many as I used to. There was a time where it was like, they're dropping a Marvel skin, they're dropping a Batman skin, they're dropping a Star Wars thing. Like I'm getting every little thing because Fortnite was all I was playing. Now it's like once every few months, I'm like, oh, there's something that I really want to add to my locker, right? But like I have enough skins already that if I want to be, whatever. But now you see games coming out and it's like, dude, like for Marvel Rivals, the skins seem wildly expensive.
Oh, really?
I know it's a free-to-play game, and maybe, again, I only played one match and I very briefly browsed the store, but it seemed wildly expensive. It was like you couldn't buy a skin for the lowest amount of coins that you could buy. And that seems like you could do something in Fortnite. Like usually, you buy 1,000 V-Bucks or whatever it is, and you can kind of like, you can get one of the lower tier skins. This, it was like, you got to spend like $30 to get one skin. And it just seems a little bit gougy, a little bit like a little too high. And I'm really worried that they'll see nobody buying these skins and then the game will be a failure. And it might be mechanically sound. It might be this, it might be that, but they're pricing these games too high. And they either come out as a full $70 game with high priced DLC, or they launch as a free game, but have wildly overpriced DLC. I found nobody hits that right level of balance with seeing a return on investment. And when it's a new game and you're competing against something so ingrained as Fortnite or Call of Duty or those kind of things where, people find it worthwhile because they've invested for years into these things, coming out new and missing the price seems to be one of the factors killing some of these games.
Yeah.
It's not enough, and I'm going to steal a phrase from another podcaster, but it's not enough for these games to come out and be good especially in the live service market. It's flooded, right? And they're all chasing the Fortnite, right? They're all chasing the Fortnite bug, and you can't come out even if your game is mechanically good, which some of these games are. I didn't play Concord in the 3 days that it lived, but I understood it to be mechanically a good, competent shooter with boring characters and boring this or whatever the case is, or games like
it was very, apparently if you really got into it, I played the alpha, I guess, when it came out. I'm like, it is what it is. It was a Overwatch clone with not a lot of cool like characters that were memorable, and then it was supposed to be all about the story, and they're going to stop the story beats. I'm like, that seems like a dissonance that I just don't get. People are not playing these games for the stories. If you wanted to make a game with a story, I think people would be all in if it was that versus we're just doing this mechanic that are all in it. Plus, it's $40, and it was a tall offer to ask. But and then they didn't have a season pass, so like you gotta trust us, and nobody trusts them because versus Fortnite was all about our season pass is out there, and you will get a lot of value with the season pass because people will do this and will make it easy and all things. So I've never heard people say that Fortnite cheated me. Now, some of the weird skins that they do that are outside of the game, people will say, why is this so expensive? But you know what? That's your own choice. But there's value there.
Because what Fortnite does is, and I'll get back to my point, but what Fortnite does is you can get the Battle Pass, and then through playing the Battle Pass, you can earn V-Bucks through the Battle Pass and get the next one.
Yeah.
If you play the game enough, they incentivize you to come back, play our game. And if you play our game enough, the $20, whatever you spent on the Battle Pass for this season, you can earn enough V-Bucks back to get the next one. You don't have to spend another $1. We know you're going to spend another $1 on skins, but we're not going to gouge you on the Battle Pass because we expect that you'll play it, beat it, and you'll have then earned enough to get the next one, and that keeps you going. Like I was saying, it's not enough for a game to come out and be good or be competent. You've got to be great because any live service game that comes out, whether you think you are or not, you're competing with Fortnite. You have to be good enough to pull people off the God tier, God mode battle royale game that exists. And you're not going to do it if you're anything less than damn near perfect. Your pricing model, your DLC, what does your long-term goal look like? And if you don't come out swinging from the jump start, you're DOA. You might get a couple of months or a couple of days, but that's all you've got. If you don't have a rock-solid foundation and a damn surefire forward plan, there's no chance. You're not going to compete.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I was going to say, like, one of the games that I've talked about plenty on this show that like caught my interest, and I think they've priced it really, really well. And again, done a really good battle pass, done some great incentives. Star Wars Hunters. The problem with that game is it's not out on any goddamn platform. They just finally announced it for PC, but who the hell's playing on mobile? So you have a segment this big who are interested in playing a Star Wars shooter on Switch. And I've kind of fallen off that game in this new season because it just feels like for the like competitive modes and that kind of stuff, I'm waiting a little longer each time between a match. I'm waiting to find people to play with. I'm hoping while it launches on PC, but I was really, really hoping when they said it's coming out for PC and it's coming for PS5 and Xbox. Like, they need that game. It is so
you need a big audience.
Everything's so well balanced. Everything plays so well. It's mechanically sound. It looks great. The art style can scale from a Switch to a high-end PC, and you just get a little bit more detail, but it's still perfectly playable on Switch. That is a game that I think could have long legs. And if it doesn't last until they get a good port on it for PS or for PlayStation and Xbox, like, I will be devastated because that game deserves so much more love than it can possibly get on mobile or Switch. Because, like I said, it just has everything paced and timed and priced the right way. And it's so rare. We've just had a bunch of examples that we've just talked about of games that have gotten it wrong. And for a game to get it right and then absolutely shit the bed on availability, it's like, what the hell, man?
I'm waiting. It's the one I'm waiting on. Like I said, I fell off of Fortnite, but you get me Star Wars and a Battle Royale, I'm all in. But I'm not playing it on my phone, and I've given up on the Switch. I'm not playing anything online on Switch.
The
recipe's easy. You give a license with a model that's cool, people will probably show up, and that's why Marvel Rivals is really, like, they talked about concurrence because it's everywhere. Except it's not on Switch yet, but it will come to Switch too. We know that. It'll be fine. Exactly. And you got to put that game everywhere for them to really keep people around. Mark, give me a nice.
You know what? You mentioned it before, and I'm going to give a nice to. I don't know exactly where this is going to go in. Maybe in the developer or whatever publisher category or something. But Nintendo putting out a music app. Weirdest bingo card ever, but holy shit, do I appreciate that app. I love listening to ambient music when I'm working, when I'm like, I'll be in cooking or even just relaxing. Like my son loves listening to Nintendo music before he goes to sleep. I'll fire on that app. There are sleep timers. There's extended play in there. So I can, if I find a song that he is like, oh, I like this one, and it puts him in that like Zen, I'm ready to go to sleep mode. Dude, that song is getting the 3-hour extended cut, however long I can play it for. And that's like pumping through until he passes out. Like,
Mark, I got one question though.
Yeah.
Why is the Nintendo online app not on Alarmo? Just kidding.
If you want me to start dissecting Nintendo's
Decisions,
thought processes and decisions,
why isn't the catalog just available on Spotify? Why do we have to go through a proprietary damn app? I get it.
Nintendo wants to control everything.
No, and I get that, but like,
yeah.
I wish I had a hot take button, and that's an old Megadad's trope. I wish I had a hot take button because, Mark, I've never disagreed on a podcast, maybe more than this take. It's so okay. Stupid.
I will. Okay, I will give you a caveat that I really wish this was in Spotify or Apple Music.
Just like music, the library available. Yeah.
1 billion%. However, I will say, for kids that might listen to this that you don't want to pay a subscription to for like an Apple Music or something like that, maybe that. And also, I think just the way Nintendo wants this to play with a single button to do an extended cut. You can't do that on Spotify or Apple Music. There's no, hey, extend this song for 15 minutes or extend this for 20 minutes. So there's not a lot, but there are a couple of UI things that I'm not going to say justify this not being, because I've always said it's so stupid that Nintendo doesn't have their full catalog on Apple Music or wherever. Because that's one of the things for this like Nintendo Switch music that I hate is if I want to listen to it in my car, I can't just easily hit a button on my CarPlay thing. I have to do it through my phone and then take over the Now Playing screen. Believe me, this is not the way I want to do this, but I appreciate that I can in some way listen to the Nintendo library and enjoy those few UI quirks or benefits of them controlling the app. So this is more of an acceptance because I want those songs somewhere rather than this is definitely the way I want them to do this. It's an acceptance of this is the way things are. And if that's the way it has to be, so I can listen to KK Slider music on repeat while I'm working, I accept that. So no, don't get me confused at all. I agree with you. The hot take button, you don't need to press it.
How many
stupidest thing ever that it's not just available on music services. But I accept the world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean,
played the Ice Climber soundtrack on repeat.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. And that's probably on there. And yet the other apps are not, the other music is not there. I will say this though. Yeah. Talking people to say, we could put it out to, for 1 billion potential listeners or 100 million people who may have a Switch. Yeah. That's the problem. It's just like you talk about Xbox cloud streaming. Like, how will people even find this thing? Well, you got to get a Nintendo online app that if you don't own a Switch, I don't even know what you do with it. And it's like, okay, that is completely weird. Yeah.
The app's not available on the fucking Switch. Sorry, Henry. But like, what? So you go into on the Switch.
Well, Mark, you have Nintendo it because you have the Smash Brothers soundtrack generator thing, which has all the Nintendo songs on it anyways. So you just carry your Switch around like a boombox.
The Switch is a glorified Android tablet. Put the app on there. Like there's YouTube app. There's already apps on this thing.
There's still not Netflix. There's still not Netflix on Nintendo, Mark.
Yeah, but my freaking fridge plays Netflix. I don't care. I want this app on my Switch because Finn has looked at it on my he's asked if he can because he loves carrying the Switch around or like.
Did you tell him Nintendo hates him?
And he's I had
Yeah.
to.
Jesus Christ.
But like,
you know what?
he's wanted
It's
to put that on
Miyamoto's
the
just going to
TV.
show up and slap Finn and say, "Shut up, kid. Take it. Learn now." Being
But,
a
like,
Nintendo fan,
he's looked at it and he sees the pictures and the icon on the Switch, and he's
Yes.
like, "Oh, can we just listen to the music?" And it's like,
No.
First, open up Smash Brothers, then go to the thing. In 5 simple steps, you'll be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
unless you don't have the cartridge in, and then you're screwed, kid. Sorry.
So I'll leave that on my nice list as a
Are you
I
sure?
can
That's
finally
like
listen to the music.
that's a
but there's some
very
caveats.
Minnesota ice, like, oh, passive aggressive, like, nice.
There are
Yes.
some asterisks next to that.
There's
exactly.
a couple of asterisks, but I can listen to the.
It's a
I can listen to the
begrudging
soundtrack.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can
At least
keep
you
adding
tried
to it.
Bart Simpson cake that goes
Which
with
is, yeah.
That's a Krampus nice list.
exactly. Well, I'm not throwing Miyamoto in the bad kid list in my sack this year, but we'll deal with it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I will get into my naughty. So I think we're only gonna have time for one naughty, one nice. For me, naughty has to be seeing games fail despite acclaim.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I feel like that we're really struggling. We're getting back into, well, it's got to be the same old franchises. I feel like with Ubisoft really just tossing, and we saw this, Mark, with one of our games of the year, Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
We love that game. Not going back to that franchise. Not going back to Prince of Persia, that series, going away, not getting a sequel, and then going back to just doubling down on Assassin's Creed, not going back to Splinter Cell. I feel like in a lot of ways we see a lot of these franchises that are just struggling and wanting love, and I worry, especially like Xbox, like, hey, we're going to bring out a new, what's the spy game that's supposed to be coming out, and keeps getting delayed, and maybe it'll happen Perfect Dark. And then, and then PlayStation just bungling a lot of their franchises that have done really well. People want new franchises and they just don't want to do it. And they just want to keep doubling down on,
Did you guys, Immortals of Avium, amazing.
Yeah.
Did you guys play this game? Amazing game.
I did. On Xbox. I got it for $8. Yeah.
We're not doing this game again. That was a franchise in the making. That game was amazing. Yeah, it didn't sell 100 billion copies, so it wasn't good enough.
Yep. We saw that with what's and this isn't this year, but Prince of Persia was one from this year, because that game was on my game of the year list and a lot of people others, and it just, oh no, we're going to move on. The other game that what was the game from Tango Gameworks that was acclaimed last year?
Hi-Fi Rush.
And Hi-Fi Rush. Thankfully, they were purchased. They were purchased by somebody else. They'll hopefully make a new game, but I just feel a lot of ways that I feel like we're reverting to, unless it's the biggest thing in the world, we're just abandoning it. And I feel like if Activision has just turned into a Call of Duty studio, when's the next Crash game? Apparently there was supposed to be a Crash game that was going to be made and isn't going forward. So I do worry that a lot of these studios are going to be, especially with all the closures and everything, that the naughty list of developers is basically saying they're going to take less chances, going to double down on franchises, and we're going to be worse for it, because people will get tired of those franchises, and then what are you left with? And I worry. You see Ubisoft right now that essentially they're looking at Tencent essentially taking over the company, but letting their I forget the name of the Gamal family still having some control of it. But that is the first step towards not a good look for Ubisoft, because I feel like that could be a future that they don't want, especially when we see what the type of games Tencent makes. So letting franchises die and not grow is a huge problem for the industry. So we'll see where that goes.
The industry is risk averse. Sean Layden, former Sony studio head, president, recently did an interview, and I forget the outlet, not a gaming outlet, a news outlet, but he was asked about the industry and whatnot, and it's a really, really long interview. It's really, really good, and it's worth checking out if you're interested. But one of the things he goes into is the cost of games, the expectation of sales, and that risk averseness of we can't take risks and try something new because games take so much longer to make in this generation. They take 5, 6, 7 years, as opposed to Naughty Dog released the entire Uncharted trilogy on the PS3 in one generation. That's 3 games, and The Last of Us in the middle of that, at the tail end of the generation, all in one generation. And now we're lucky if we'll get one game from a studio on in any given generation, because games take so long. The budgets of these games, Concord costs, including marketing
studio,
I think it was like $300 million.
Fire Sprite, $400. I think was
close the studio, because so what's happening is they say, oh well, what if we make Last of Us 3, Uncharted 5, Gears of War 7, Halo 27, because these are guaranteed hits. We have name cachet, name recognition, and we'll innovate a little bit within that world, but we're not getting a new IP. Why? Because it's going to take us 8 years, $300 million to make this game, and if it doesn't sell $100 million, we have to shut the studio down, because it took us the entire console generation to release one game. Because it has to, because we've equated value of the game to length of the game. So a game can't be anymore 8 hours. We can't release a Journey, right? Xbox 360, indie title. We can't make a game that's 3 hours and makes you cry at the end, and it costs $7 and a cheeseburger to make. It's got to be an 8-year development cycle, $300 million, and because it spent so much time, so much money, it has to sell $100 million. So instead, we're not going to do it. We're going to go back to the well and just make games and titles and sequels and reboots. And look, Capcom, for example, remake Resident Evil 4 and 3 and all of them. Great. Awesome. But Capcom's also doing a lot of really amazing things.
Yes, they are.
And so I'll give them credit for that. But in Microsoft and stuff like that, and Sony, and, they're not taking risks because they can't afford them. You can't afford to take a risk if you've got one shot on a studio, or you have to shut it down because you can't pay them anymore. So there's a huge issue with taking risks and creativity in the space now.
Yeah, I want to ask a hot take question here for a second. I'm going to smash that button or do
okay. Thank you.
Seamus added AI generated stuff to his naughty list.
Good luck getting away from that.
If there were minimal things, I'm not saying replacing voice actors or, ripping people off, but if there was a way to hand off some of the stuff that costs some money to AI just to help, like help with idea generation, make things a little speedier. I'm not saying replace a lot of humans with AI, but use AI as assistants.
I mean, I hate to be like I hate to be the devil's advocate, but we've had AI for years. I mean, think about like No Man's Sky. Procedurally generated planets is AI.
Yes.
AI has always been a part of everything we make. Mm-hmm. And the question becomes, good, bad, or indifferent, it's there. We had AI making level planets in Starfield that added, I would think to most people, 0 value. It didn't help. People wanted to go back to this. So I think that was the case. Mm-hmm. But if you think about a small team like No Man's Sky, they went from making Joe Danger to this game that has existed. If it allows a small team to do impressive things because they can't afford, the scope, it's amazing. It helped them make a game that realized their dreams and go beyond their thing and basically make an amazing output game that's been improved upon. You haven't heard about layoffs of that studio. You keep seeing it. They keep adding value to the players that have stuck with it. There's some good things about AI, but to your point, it shouldn't replace humans, but it should make humans' jobs easier. It should be doing those things that aren't value added to the developers who would say, I don't want to know how to program a game. I just want to be creative and make a game.
I think, the creativity, I think it can add where you can take menial tasks that's to allow a developer or an artist or a programmer to work on something that you need a creative eye on. So things like in an open world game, we have tons of interactable NPCs where you walk up to an NPC and they have dialogue, and maybe it's meaningless. There's a term for it, industry term, barks, I think is the industry term, where you talk to an NPC and they just say a line of dialogue, and maybe it's edited, maybe it's not. AI can generate 200,000 lines of random bark dialogue for background NPCs that don't impact the story, but they flesh out the world so that you don't have to have a writer in a room thinking of, I have to think up 400 lines for all these NPCs. No, let them write the story. AI shouldn't touch the story. AI shouldn't touch the moment to moment, those heartfelt moments. But like, can an AI create this background chatter that makes your world feel lived in and alive? Yeah, why not? Why not? And like you mentioned, Todd, AI is in games. I don't want a game created, air quotes, created by AI. I don't want a story written, air quotes, by AI. I don't want art assets where someone said, oh, make me a Space Marine, but don't make it look like Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief. No. I want
make me a Pokemon game with weapons. Oh, wait.
Right.
But you know, art should be created by the artist. The story should be written and you know, massaged by an author, a writer. But like, hey, we need some additional background assets to flesh out this world, to make it look lived in. That's not going to have real impact on the artistic nature of the product, the story, whatever. Yeah, AI is going to be there, and it should be there, because take that, let it do those kind of menial tasks to free up your creative minds and your creative artists and whatnot to do the heart and soul of what makes video games the art medium that we want it to be. We've been saying for decades, games are art, games are expressive, games can tell stories in a way that movies can't, because of the interactive nature of video games, right? We can tell more impactful stories in video games than can be done in books and in movies, because it's your player agency. You are moving that story along at your pace or whatever. But don't let AI do that. But AI can certainly improve those things, or just be additive in the background. 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm going to ask a dumb question, but do we feel like there's a lot of value with like fetch quests where there's no artistic value? It's just grinding. You see a lot of JRPGs, which are like 100 hours long. And I feel like that is not someone adding their creativity. It's like, we have to create value by adding more content. That feels like an AI task that's been made to happen. There's no creativity in say, get me 3 pelts. There's just exactly. Yeah. So I feel like there's some things there. So you feel like, you want longer games, but you want a smaller development studio. You want to have budgets you can control. You actually want that game to be really successful. That's how you manage your budget. That's how you don't take 10 years for a game to come out, and then you can't live between the games because your last game you made didn't support you through the next 10 years. So it's a tough one, but yeah, it's really funky. I know we're running long, so I'm going to end things on a positive note.
Yes.
So in my nice list, I'm saying thank you to all these free games we get from all these amazing services. So if you think about it, and Mark, you need to just like get like a cheap Steam Deck or something, because Amazon Prime, Epic Games, Steam, there are so many amazing free games right now on Epic. You get the Lego collection, the Star Wars Lego collection, for free on Epic.
Awesome.
It's amazing, and it's built up my library. And I always feel like, hey, if I'm not interested in a game, I'm not going to claim it. I'm going to share it. So I've been like Gamer Claws on like Blue Skies and like where I give away codes on GOG. They're great. And GOG has no DRM. You can do whatever you want with that game. It's yours for free. No one can take it away from you. So that is where I feel like I love it that we get all these amazing games for free. Obviously, they don't. I mean, Amazon, your Prime subscription is paying for that. GOG, they do that every change, and they're an amazing service. Epic Games, they want you to come and join their store as an alternative to Steam. It's the price of entry. So, but I do appreciate it, and I'm glad it's there. And then even Amazon, they do Luna. So you get you can just play a game on Luna for free to try it out. So talk about free streaming games. It's amazing. So I want to say thank you guys for allowing people to game for cheap, especially when you want to get a cheap PC. There's ways to play it. I saw a Steam Deck for like $350. I saw a ROG Ally this year for $350 to, open up the world of PC gaming in a really easy manner. It's great. So thank you for all the free games. So yeah. There we go. That is our naughty and nice list. Thanks for everybody who paid, gave us their takes on this. We appreciate. We always want more people to be engaged in our podcast, and we want to just have a good time, and we want people to come on the show, just like Chris came on this episode. So, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. It was great.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. It has been probably 2 or so years since I've been on a podcast. I miss it. Wow. I would love to come back to this. Or if anybody's listening, if anybody's listening to this, if you've got a podcast and you need a co-host or you want a guest, please reach out. I would absolutely love to talk video games for as long as you will let me ramble on and on. This has been amazing. So Mark and Todd, thank you both for having me today or tonight, I guess, depending on when. Awesome. Loved it. Great experience for me. Thank you guys both. You guys are both on my nice list. Thank you.
Aw, so much. Thank you so much. But Chris, thank you so much. And then, but you have to tell people how they can find you to actually reach out to you.
So I jumped off the horrible cesspool of Twitter. So I'm on Threads and Blue Sky, which is certainly taken off. You can find me. I'm on both of them, Threads and Blue Sky, at cberto85, CBERTO85. I am there sharing my gaming hot takes and cold takes, wrestling hot takes. I'm a big wrestling nerd, big fan of the AEW and WWE. So so cberto85, Threads, Blue Sky. Say hi. That's it. That's all I got.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Mark, where can people find you?
You can find me mostly Instagram, Threads, little bit on TikTok, even though I'm not really using that as much lately. Canardian_Jedi, and over on Blue Sky, they don't do underscores, so it's Canardian-Jedi, because of course one platform has to be different. So everywhere as some variation of that.
Perfect. You can find me on Threads at Toxtra at Secret Friends Unite with dots between those on Threads for some reason. And then on Blue Sky at Todd Oxtra. I changed it up. Todd Oxtra. I am who I am. And then at Secret Friends Unite, they don't have any dots. On Blue Skies, you can DM me on Instagram, and you can DM me on Blue Skies, and also Secret Friends Unite as well. So check us out. Let us know if you want to be on the show. We'd love to have you. And remember, enter the contest, because we'd love to give that CODBLOP 6 code away. So with that, thank you, gentlemen. Do we want to give our gamer tags away? We haven't done that in a while. So if you want to game with us, Spartyon98 on Switch and Xbox, Spartyon98, and then Spartyon1998 on PSN, because apparently somebody else was Spartyon98, who I don't know. Screw you. Chris, Mark, where can people find you in the world of actual gaming?
You know what? I actually don't know my PSN account name, because I think I changed it. And I typically play online that often.
No problem.
But I'll post something on Threads and Blue Sky. I'll add it to my bio, and if you think I have good takes or bad takes, find me and yell at me. And then hound me on PSN and tell me I suck at video games. That's fine.
Perfect. They can call you a noob, just like me. Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. Mark, where do you game?
I think on Switch and Xbox, I'm Canardian, but I think there's some numbers attached to Xbox. So again, I'll kind of mirror what Chris is saying. DM me somewhere if you want to play like Fortnite or something, and we'll make it happen.
Perfect. Okay. With that, thank you for joining us on this journey of the world of video games. We hope you have a great week. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member. Get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.